Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen news with a 3.2.1a PTU update, a recap of the week's shows, and a bit of a rant about some of the changes that they've got planned for their video content and around the verse. There are no roadmap updates on the week straight after a quarterly release, and as 3.2's been released, there's no real roadmap update, but there's been a couple of patches on the PTU, the latest one being 3.2.1a. I'll go through the patch notes quickly. They reduced the mission spawn timers to increase the frequency and availability of missions, tweaked stamina consumption and regeneration, disabled the radar in Star Marine until signature and occlusion issues can be addressed, adjusted heat values on the Blades weapons, so the size 3 plasma cannon overheats slower and the size 2 is capable of overheating, enabled UI prompts when an item is underpowered and removed MFD power throttle smoothing. They updated a new algorithm for ESP and they are focusing on dialing ESP in currently. They reduced light levels on the bridge of the 600i, increased the mineable threshold to prevent rocks from being highlighted as fracturable when they are extractable. Explosive ammunition, the Delta rockets and the Combine cannons should now do damage again. Misk and Drake ships should no longer trigger quantum fuel low audio when thrusters are overheating. The Avengers pilot seat should now properly highlight when selected interaction mode. Calibration progress audio should no longer persist for the slave ship after the master ship finishes calibrating. Overclocking components should now properly have overheat effects. Grenades should no longer travel toward map origin when thrown. Wearing specific kinds of helmets should no longer cause distant objects to appear blurry. The Nox should no longer have opaque glass. The player should no longer pass out too quickly from spamming crouch. The mining arm on the Prospector should retract when attempting to quantum travel. Turning on scanning UIs while attempting to calibrate should no longer result in the nav points getting stuck on screen and the UIs stacking. The Mobi-Glass UI should no longer be offset when entering the pilot seat with a primary weapon drawn. Shield MFDs should now show the correct values for face redistribution. They fixed placeholder text on the Condemnation Distortion Scatter Gun. There's a fix for sprinting interrupt of reload. They fixed a server crash and 2 client crashes. 3.2.1 should be coming to the live servers pretty soon, probably when they've dialed in the ESP a little bit more, because it does need some work. Calling all devs, so let's go over a quick recap of what they said in Calling All Devs. Life support will generate oxygen that will deplete based on the size of a room and the amount of people consuming it. Key bindings, they will try and add as many bindable keys as possible for the game so you can customize your set and all the different buttons your ships do as much as possible. Avoiding PvP, you won't be able to entirely avoid other players, but you will be able to minimize risk by staying in safer systems if you want to entirely avoid PvP. It's the closest that you'll get to that. Multi-tool and other gadgets, so the multi-tool can repair, salvage, cut, tractor beam, push and pull. There will be a variety of other gadgets for both combat and utility as well. Around the verse, this was super short this week and part of my rant. They showed off Hurston concepts for Security Force armor for 3.3. They showed the probe props, which we have in 3.2, but these probes are important for the game because they are made out of vehicle items like shields and stuff, so they can have props with items, weapons and that sort of stuff, which allow for a interesting range for missions and objectives and items they can build in-game, like little satellites and stuff. And they talked about FPS AI that's coming in 3.3. This is going to allow combat with NPCs on the ground, in stations and in derelicts, and again for a much more diverse range of missions. RTV, so a Reverse the Verse, gave us some interesting infos. They don't plan on having any form of auction house, but player-to-player trading will be a thing. Orbiting moons and planets are planned to be a thing. They are working on it. It presents a lot of technical challenges. Obviously, they do have actual day-night cycles, but they're not revolving around the sun at the moment. Once the Stanton system is fully built, they will build jump points and then other systems as well. There will be penalties for not taking off in time on a landing zone. They're going to be implementing docking fees based on the popularity of an area. They do foresee issues where somewhere is going to be super popular, so they're thinking of ways to either allow lots of people to dock in areas or to reduce the amount of people wanting to dock in those areas. They are potentially looking at an entry-level science ship other than the Sen. However, They don't necessarily need a small, medium, large, and late game ship for every role. They want to get scanning modes more fleshed out with short range and mid-range scanning, and then they're going to start to look at long-range scanning and exploration. This shouldn't actually be too far in the future. The Hull C is still on hold at the moment. They're working on cargo and the compression mechanism before it can continue, and they need to develop the cargo system a bit more. The IFCS and ESP systems will continue to evolve. John Pritchett was training David Coulson, who is in charge of the team that is now handling the IFCS systems. The VoIP and FOIP, so face over IP and voice over IP, is intrinsically linked tech. The face data is only 1/10 of the VoIP data when they send it, so they basically send very small amounts of data and the clients then rebuild it. There's a small amount of latency based on that as well, though. VoIP needs to work with the expanding group system. VoIP now has an auto-calibrate feature, which solves a lot of the quality of life problems that they were having previously with it. They are able to detect where you're looking with VoIP, so they could potentially have NPCs react to that in the future. They want the mobiGlass and UI to work properly and to be very legible, and then they're going to start looking at customization of colors and apps, but they want the mobiGlass in a good state for that. Head tracking is part of face over IP, though you can disable them separately. Track IR will still be better for combat and aiming, as head tracking has a bit of latency on it when it's being done by a webcam. So Track IR is still going to be supported by Star Citizen. 3.2.1 is going to be trying to implement rendered texture for shopping kiosks, so that we can have previews of items on the shopping kiosks, as well as stabilization and improvements for turrets. So, onto my rant. They are putting Bug Smashers on hiatus for a while. Disco Lando confirmed that they are trying to make compelling video content for the community, but they don't want to have that ever negatively impact the game's development. CitizenCon and 3.3 are huge for them over the next 3 months, and because of that, we were going to see changes to video content. However, I'd like to say that their video content is one of the reasons they make so much money, so it doesn't really negatively impact them doing these videos. Let's have that clear. It is something that subscribers pay for, but also generates money in ship sales. One of the changes they've recently done is the very small ATVs, a shrunk down format, and they confirmed that that's what they wanted to try. And this very short update would be delivered regularly by Chris and Sandy in the future. I feel I want to say something here because I like the old RTVs, the ones they did literally before last week. They were just adding slightly too much to them. I don't really want Bug Smashers or a Lawmaker's Guide to be part of ATV. I don't want it to be over 15, 20 minutes, really. And when they're like half an hour, 40 minutes, that's too much. I personally don't want super long features to be part of ATV. I want the news, a studio update, preferably from someone at the studio, but it doesn't really matter who, as long as the information's there, and maybe a small feature for ATV. The format was pretty good. They just padded it too much for me with things like Bug Smashers, which is a great standalone show. I'm pretty sure that very few people liked that new format that they tried. And I'm also pretty sure that if CIT is saying they changed it based on feedback or analytics, then I feel that they've probably misunderstood that feedback or how the analytics work. If you shorten your video to 5 minutes, then you're still going to see less average watch time. All they seem to be doing with the new format is informing us of less things and making me feel like my subscription money isn't being well spent. I love Calling All Devs. I love RTV. I think they're great. But ATV was pretty solid. Just don't make it super long. You don't have to share my opinion on this, and I might be wrong with what people want. I can only literally speak for myself. But I'm going to be poking CIG and letting them know my thoughts on this, and if you want to as well, but I encourage you to do so in a polite, constructive manner, whether you agree with me or not, or you have a different idea. Feel free to leave a comment here below as well. I'd like to know what others think. I'd hope that I'm not in the minority with this, but I might be. They did talk about having Reverse the Verse Happy Hour game dev sessions again, which I did really enjoy. This is where they make a creature, plant, or physics game using dev tools, and they highlight what they can do with Star Citizen, sort of stuff they can do in game and stuff that they could do in the future with it. And it's really cool to see behind the scenes stuff like that. They also said they wanted to hang out and play the game occasionally on RTV, which I'm not massively pro or anti. I watch streamers for people playing the current build of Star Citizen or play it myself, unless they're going to be playing a new or dev build, which would be awesome, or unless they're going to just have it in the background while they answer questions and chat like normal. That would be cool as well. But again, let me know what you think down below. We raised over £5,000 for special effect last week with the big 3.2 fundraiser, which is amazing. Thank you to all streamers involved. Thank you to Moist Noodle for organising it in the first place, and for everyone that donated or spread the word about that event. I need to select a winner for the Saber Raven later today that I said I would do. That's just reminded me. For the rest of July, we have a Vulture to give away. Forgotten Heralds have some cool little videos coming out soon that I'll be premiering on some of my other videos in the next few days. Forgotten Heralds are a very active, friendly org that run operations in-game regularly and will be a good fit for a lot of new and veteran players alike to play the game now. Links below. Make sure you are a subscriber and leave a comment to be in for a chance of winning that Vulture down below. Also, Shadow Stuffs. Be sure to check out Shadow. It's a cloud-based alternative to getting or upgrading your gaming PC. It allows you to leverage the power of a GeForce 1080 at the moment and a powerful Windows 10 PC on almost any device, so long as your internet connection is good enough. It works with Star Citizen now for 3.2, and with 3.3 coming in September with object container streaming, it's only going to get better. Shadow is available in France, Germany, United States, United Kingdom, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Switzerland. If you do try it out, be sure to use the code BoredGamer to get a discount. Links to more info in the description below. A special thank you to my Patreons and all the people that watch my videos and all that sort of jazz. You guys are awesome. If you want to support the channel further, there's links below as well for Patreon donations and all that sort of jazz as well. You guys are amazing. You take care, and I'll see you in the verse.